I'm Eric Hollenbeck. Welcome to Tales from the Ox. Hi folks, I'm Eric and I'm here in the fab room going through a box of planes that we just got donated to us. We'll do a story on this. This is very nice. This is a howler plane for making rabbits in barrels. I know what this is because I already had a scraping howler here. But anyway, today I would like to tell another fun story. So we have this happened 5-7 years ago, and we have a school called Montessori here in our area. Maybe they have them everywhere, probably. And the Montessori school called me and said, this lady did, and said that she wanted to do something special this Veterans Day, and she wanted to invite me and half a dozen or more other veterans to come over, and they wanted to have a big lunch, and they were going to supply the lunch, a big lunch, and one of us veterans would sit at every table and tell the students what it was like when we were in the service. And I said, thank you very much for asking, and that's great that you're doing that, but you got the wrong guy. I'm not the right guy for this. I can't do this. Well, she was insistent. 4 times she called. And I told her, no, you got the wrong guy. 4 times. Finally, on the 4th time, I told her why. And I said, look, I'm a combat veteran. I don't know what stories I could tell to these young people. No, you got the wrong guy. So she said, okay, I understand that now. She said, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put only the older kids at your table. So they'll be 14 to 16 or 15. I think she said 13 to 15. 13 to 15 years old. So finally I gave in. I mean, she wasn't going to go away. And I gave in. And then for a week and a half before this, I sweated bullets. Oh man, I was really beside myself that I had agreed to this at all. And then on the drive over, I'm sweating bullets. I'm wondering what I can do. Just as I pull in and shut the van off and go to step out, it hit me. Life gave me the answer. I knew what to say. I knew what story to tell. So we go in, and we had our lunch, and all that went wonderful. And then the time for the story came along, and I said, okay, first I have to paint a picture for you. I'm with a company of 68 men, and we're 3 platoons, and I'm a radioman for 2nd platoon. My radio will reach about to Arcata, I tell them. That's about 6 miles. I could reach out about 6 miles. And that was about it. But with my whip antenna up, my long antenna, I could get 10, 12 miles, maybe. Maybe I could double that. range, and I could call back to MACV. And for those of you who don't know, MACV is God. MACV was head of everything strategic. MACV was God. Well, MACV had radios, took up whole rooms. You know, not a radio like I'm carrying on my back, whole rooms of radios. So they set up, the military and the shortwave people, community around the world, set up what they called the Mars Project. And at Christmas time, every night, remember, we would be on a hilltop, come off the hilltop, go hike through the jungle, and then find another hilltop that evening and make a camp on that hilltop. And the gunners would set up a perimeter, and I would be inside the perimeter of my platoon with my radio, and one at a time. It took about 4 or 5 days to get all 20 guys through. It was all prearranged by these two organizations, the Army and shortwave people. So I would call, one gunner would come over, and I would call MACV. And MACV would call a shortwave operator in Australia. And the shortwave operator in Australia would call a shortwave operator in Asia. He would call a shortwave operator in Europe. He would call a shortwave operator in New York. New York would bounce his signal across the water, because shortwave, unlike all the other radio waves, bounces on water. And he could bounce his signal, skip it, to New York. That shortwave operator would receive the call, and then the gunner that was with me would say the phone number that he wanted to call his family, and the guy in New York would dial the phone and hold the mic up to the phone, and he could talk with his family for 2 minutes. Each man got to talk 2 minutes to their family. It was a little strange because there was about a 2-second delay, so that made it a little bit funny to talk. But you got to hear your family, and you got to say, I'm doing great, and the family got to say they were doing great. Now, both sides had to say over when they were done talking, so that everybody in the chain knew when to key their mics, but it worked. So, and that was really spectacular that the guys out in the jungle got to do that. Okay, so I'm telling that story. At my table, the students are listening, but there's this one young lady. She's about 13, a young blonde girl, and she's listening and listening. She's got her little eyebrows knitted together. Boy, she is really concentrating on this. She's working hard at getting this. And I got done with the story, and she looked down at the table for maybe half a minute, long time. And finally she looked up at me and she said, well, that don't make any sense. Why didn't they use their cell phones? Cell phones had been around her whole life. They must have always been around. So I hope you enjoyed that story. Thanks, folks.